Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Neighbours. Today I'm joined by Jerisha Grant-Hall, the Executive Director of the Newmarket African Caribbean Canadian Association, known as NACCA. Since 2018, NACCA has been creating opportunities for Black communities in Newmarket and beyond, supporting youth, fostering mentorship and education, and building intercultural understanding. Their mission is to empower, engage, and unite communities. And today we'll be talking about NACCA's story, the impact, and the vision for the future. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so take me back to 2018. What sparked the idea for NACCA, and how did it first come together?
That's a big question.
Let's start off with a big one.
Yeah, taking me down memory lane.
Yeah.
2018, I think you typically in life, there are many different things that lead you down a path. And I remember back in 2017, I was creating a vision board because I had heard about how powerful vision boards were to kind of set the tone for what it is that you wanted to bring to life or materialize. So I decided to do one close to Christmas. But what better time than that time? And so I set out to do that. I had collected a number of local magazines and was looking for images of Black families to put on the vision board, and I couldn't find any image. And so at that point, I realized that there was a disconnect in terms of, what is in community versus what's represented in community. And that's what really sparked the mission to build a more connected community. And so I that's when I reached out to others and said, hey, I think we need something here. I think something's missing. And that's, I guess you could say, the spark.
Yeah. So you're sitting down to do a vision board, but really it was just, what do you want to bring to life? And then through that process, and, trying to put that together, that's what then led to, oh, wait a second, there's something missing over here. We need to do something about it. Yes. Had you done a vision board before that? I love a good vision board.
That was my first time doing one.
Yeah.
And it was powerful.
Yeah. And, good timing too, like December, right before the start of a new year. And then, when you go and do that, look what it leads to, right?
Yes.
That spark. And then I always say, you get a spark with something, but then the work is flaming that spark and turning it into something big.
Yes, and I also had my own internal spark of things that were happening in my life. Personally, I'd lost my mom just a couple of years before that and was going through that, I guess you could call it transformation of life without, mother that you're close to and love dearly. And so I began to do the assessment of what the trajectory of her life and realizing that it wasn't that far disconnected from, the communal, the wider society. And so it was that also that was happening on the inside.
The stars were aligning, I guess, for you.
I guess.
And then, so, you have the initial spark, you have the idea for it, but I believe thinking about the youth was kind of foundational for what you wanted to build. Can you just talk about that a little bit? What was your feeling towards the youth, and then what you wanted to achieve with that?
Absolutely. It came with a lot of reflection around my own childhood and youth growing up and going to high school and then off to university. I went to York University and just not having access to resources and support at that time, just kind of figuring things out on my own and realizing that too was a gap. And so a huge part of this was making sure that there were opportunities, because I felt like that was what was missing for me and for others when I kind of looked around and saw what was happening in different communities throughout the GTA, that lack of support and access to opportunities, that was something that was widespread that youth were facing. And so I thought that was definitely, and then when I brought it back home to Newmarket, there was nothing. And so a lot of parents agreed and felt like, yeah, we need to put together some sort of programming, some sort of space that was going to be affirming for the people in our community, specifically Black youth. And so that's what.
So you had a good first pillar to kind of build off of through that lens, through that self-reflection of, your experience, and then looking around and saying, it doesn't exist, so I need to go and make it exist.
And leadership starts within, right? I don't think you can lead outside of yourself. I think that's where you start, always on the inside.
Yeah, and it's, you're best fitted to speak about it, know what is needed when you have the personal experience from it, right? One thing can be, the theory of it all, but when you actually lived it, you know what needs to be done.
Yes. Especially when you start connecting the dots and you realize,
and then you go out and you're talking to others, and they're having the same feelings, and I'm sure you'd hear some of the same stories and be like, okay, we have something here.
Yes, absolutely.
And so NACCA's mission is about building empowerment and unity. So what does that look like in practical terms in our community?
Empowerment, unity, those are big ambitions. I think they're kind of audacious goals that we've set. I think we're always empowered, right? We're just supporting that empowerment or enhancing it. Unity is, I think, a critical part of our humanity. I think we've been so fragmented and disconnected, and so I thought you could feel this unity, you could see it represented in so many ways, and I think in order for us to evolve and to progress as people, I think that's a given. That's, if we can't get to unity and empowerment, then we're just,
what are we doing?
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we are all so interconnected, but sometimes we're missing that piece, right? Like we are connected, but for whatever reasons, like, we kind of isolate ourselves and don't think of the collective when really we should be thinking of the collective, from a community to a region, to a province, to a country, to the world, really, and have this connection piece of it.
Yes. In practical terms, to your point, it means showing up. It means so many different things. It means allyship. It means solidarity. It means coming together for a cause. It means support. It means advancing something that you care about, a cause that you're compassionate about, that you may not even totally understand, but you see the need and you want to contribute to that cause. Yeah,
and on the empowerment side, it's building like the tools, the resources, the support to allow people to be empowered, right?
Absolutely.
So let's go back again on the youth engagement side of it, because I think it's a very important piece of it. Let's just double click on that, why the youth engagement part of it is so critical, so important of this.
It has always been, we always say youth are the future, right? I guess you could call it the life cycle. I like to see things intergenerationally, and I know Indigenous communities, they think 7 generations. I like to think in those terms as well, that what we're doing is for generations to come. So the focus on youth is really to build for the future, to build hope for the future. You're really shaping what it is that you want to see 7 generations from now. So it made sense. It made sense that all of us are important, all of the different areas that we hit in our life cycle, including midlife and seniors. But if we really think about building legacy and what that needs to look like, you really have to start with youth. And so that was...
Yeah, for sure. If you want to build something beyond 100 years, you got to be thinking long term. And that's not a single individual's lifespans, right? It needs to be interconnected. And when you like that intergenerational, it's so true. I just had my first kid 9 months ago.
Congratulations.
And it's been great. Thank you. And it's something that completely shifted my perspective too, not only like for him, but even how I look at like my dad, my mom too, right? It has changed, like thinking about their life, you know, like raising me, and then kind of now I'm in this pocket now, like raising him. And then, you know, hopefully one day he can have kids as well too. And, you know, you're getting that intergenerational span timeline, right? And it's I think it's a good perspective for people to have as well too, you know, to not just think about yourself, I guess, right?
Yes. It changes everything when you have children. It also changes everything if you're close to your parents and you lose them.
Yeah.
Because to your point, the connection, the intergenerational connection, it really does change your perspective, because now you're not living for yourself.
Yeah.
It's a selfless thing. You're living for the people that you are helping to bring forth, so to speak. And so it does shift what you decide to do quite a bit.
For sure. And then I think you can take that and then apply it to other areas of your life, right? Like 100%. Once you know that, you know, it's beyond yourself, and you become much more selfless, right? And you can apply that, you know, in discussions that you have in the workplace, in the community, volunteering, right? And just be thinking more about others and through that lens.
Yes. Yeah, it's no longer about you. It's about everybody else.
Yeah.
Starting with the little baby.
Yeah. Can you share a story about a youth program, a mentorship, or a success story that really illustrates the impact?
There's so many.
I know. Whenever I ask questions like that, I'm like, there's always too many, so it's hard to.
Yes, it's hard. I mean, we run a scholarship program. We also run a camp every year. This year we had 51 children go through the camp, and it's always such a joy to see the transformation happening as they come in, having that space of belonging and connection, and having them understand. And by the way, this is an African-centered camp that we run every year in the summer called Kuumba Camp. Kuumba means creativity in Swahili. And so we have a really robust curriculum of activities that combines sports, recreation, as well as cultural enrichment and Black heritage education and so on. So the children get a sense of building on their identity, building on their core skills. It's STEM-based, so they get to go on field trips and they learn. They have workshops that in science, technology, engineering, math. There's storytelling. There's so much. It's so rich. In terms of the impact, it's always at the end, everyone crying. Yeah. You know you've done well when the children don't want to go and they want to continue. So I see the impact in the tears. I see it in the feedback from parents who say, you know, my child was really shy, was really, you know, didn't have that confidence that they had. So it's building their confidence, their self-love, their self-acceptance, and also the transformation into seeing how they fit in. Because, you know, we just talked about the intergenerational piece and the interconnected piece. How do you fit in to the broader society, and how can we become socially responsible citizens? And that's a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect example, right? Did you have a camp like that available to you when you were growing up?
I did not.
You did not, right? Like, and you go and create this place in this space where it's so foundational too, like for a kid's journey of like camp for one, right? Mm-hmm. But then created thoughtfully for them, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't even imagine the transformations that get seen, because, you know, I remember being at camps too, and it's a big building block for your life, right? Mm-hmm. And if there wasn't one that existed before, and then now you've created one for them, it's got to feel pretty special.
Yes. And the aim, ambition behind that is just to leave our community better than we found it.
Yeah.
That's the real aim.
I think that leads perfectly into this next question, which is, how do you see youth today stepping into leadership roles through NACCA? I think like that, a camp piece like that and building that confidence and, having a space for them and kind of the building blocks for them is a perfect way. How do you think about that?
Leadership is, I always say we're all leaders, all of us, every single one of us. We just have to tap into it. And even for a young child, they have a voice, they have ideas. I see them as creative, intelligent human beings. And so I think we are always nurturing that leadership through the children. And we also have a youth leadership committee. I see young people, that's like an older age group, because the camp is 8 to 12. And then the youth leadership committee is 14 to 19, 20. And I see the young people, they want that role. They want to enhance their skills. They want to build and create. So I see a lot of opportunities, and I see a lot of support that NACCA has given over the years to youth in that regard, to whether it's to help shape their public speaking skills, their ability to plan a budget, because the youth leadership team, they have to put together a budget. I know they're planning an open mic for December, and it's like, what are the different parts, the space, the budget, who's gonna be there, and putting it all together and seeing that come to life. And they're full of ideas. It's supervised by a staff, but they have everything.
Yeah, like the youth, they will do the thing. They just need like the platform, the place, the tools, the resources, the support to facilitate it, right? Like you said, I guess you get to see it firsthand. They have the ideas, they have the ambition, they have the strive to go and do and create these things.
Yes.
But they just need a place to do it. And it seems that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. And they created a documentary it's just awe-inspiring when I saw the release 2 years ago of Living in Color, I think it was called, when it was launched. Putting together an entire, I think it was 20-minute documentary and these are kids in school, right? Yeah. They're studying, they're doing everything else. And it's just incredible to see what can happen, what the possibilities are when you support young people.
Yeah, that's got to be fulfilling and then encouraging to, keep going, keep building stronger and keep moving forward. How has the community support been since launching in 2018? And talk me through that journey and whether that's Newmarket or surrounding areas. Mm-hmm. Talk about the community and NACCA together.
Oh my goodness. We are so blessed. I think ever since we started, it's been quite a journey. Our community has been, I know many organizations don't experience the same thing, but we've been so blessed to have the support of everyone in our community, on our municipal government, our leader, our mayor, other organizations, York Region Food Network. Like, everyone's been rallying around to support the work that we've been doing over the years. We have a food security program. I shout out to York Region Food Network, because every year we get that plot and that helps us to grow food for those that are experiencing financial challenges. So I've seen everything from like just dedicated people wanting to volunteer. There's so many people behind the scenes that you don't even see. So the success, I would say, of NACCA is the heart, a nucleus of the organization is the volunteers. It's grassroots, volunteer led up until just very recently when we started to hire staff. And you can't do anything without money. You know that. We know that. And so donations that we receive, I remember even our core program, our mental health program, not having funding, government funding for it. And it's our community, local community, Newmarket, Aurora, East Gwillimbury, people who have come forward and said, I want to contribute to mental health, the cause that you're doing to support one-on-one therapy. And that's how we were able to offer therapy to community members through individual donations.
Yeah.
So
the community volunteers, it's like the core of like any great organization. So that's great to hear. Yeah. And another element is like local partnerships too, right? Yes. So whether that's schools or government or businesses, talk about the role of partnerships and what you're creating.
Yes, definitely. It's partnerships, collaboration, critical to help us move forward. We have government partnerships. The work, as I always say, it's collective work and responsibility. We're all responsible for each other. We're each other's brothers. We're each other's keepers. You're your brother's keepers. And so we've been building strong partnerships with all levels of government, municipal, provincial, federal, local businesses. RC Design was one of the first businesses that we kind of partnered with, supported us to, with our graphic design and everything from the very early days. And then up until recently, the Fair Chance Learning, also Newmarket Public Library. There's so many different local businesses, and whether it's nonprofit or government, that have said, yes, we want to work with you, and we want to. Chamber of Commerce, Newmarket Chamber of Commerce. I know it's changed. The name has changed now.
Yeah, Central York. Yeah. Yes. I still catch myself saying Newmarket Chamber, but Central York. Yeah, and I think those are also key to extend your reach, right? Mm-hmm. And the support again. We're coming back to the support for the mission. NACCA operates with an anti-oppression and anti-Black racism framework. Mm-hmm. For those listening, what does that mean?
It means, in very simple terms, that let's break down anti-oppression. It's really just ensuring that people are seen for who they are, regardless of how they show up in society, regardless of the intersectionalities. I know that's not a simple word. I said simple terms. But, we show up as, women, men. We might have a disability. We might identify as non-binary. However, we show up, as, for me, Black, female, cisgendered woman, so able-bodied. And so regardless of those social ways that we identify, that means that we must be able to access services and supports and have opportunities in the same way that everybody else does. So we want to make sure that the programs that we offer, the way that we do our business, is not discriminatory. Yeah. And then the resisting anti-Black racism is really just saying, from a racial standpoint, that we want to make sure that African Canadians, Black Canadians, those who identify as having an African ancestry have access to resources, have access without discrimination as well, to all of the things that everybody else does. So racial equity, it leads to that conversation around racial equity. It's just making sure everyone has access. At the end, the outcome of all of us is influenced by what resources are put into to the community. So we want to make sure that it's equitable for everybody. Yeah. These are, as you mentioned, really complex terms, but it comes with history. It comes with experience. So we know that we have a history of colonialism. We have a history where there were policies created that, treat certain people differently, including Black Canadians. And so working from that lens is just understanding, because I don't think you can dismantle discrimination, anti-Black racism, or work from an anti-oppressive lens if you don't understand the history of why do we need those lenses in the first place? What exists in our society? that would cause us to want to level the playing field, so to speak. Things have happened, and let's talk about it. Let's address it. Let's come together and see how we can make our community, as the town's logo would say, community beyond the ordinary. How can we do that together?
Yeah, for sure. With unity.
Yes.
Yeah. So NACCA's still young, but already making a big impact. If we look into the next 5 years, what's kind of the goals, the visions you have for the organization? 5
years feels like tomorrow.
I know, it goes so quick.
Yes. I see us expanding and growing. I see our reach going beyond the Oak region in some ways, in more ways than one. I see us building out a bigger community hub. I know that we have one here, very fortunate to have a space, but building out that. Within that hub, we have a library. I always say you can't build community without books and having access to education. So I see us really building out that hub and becoming bigger.
Yeah, I love that. As we finish up here, is there any last thoughts, message that you would like for the listeners, watchers to leave them with?
Yes, there's always something. Wherever the space that you occupy, whether it's in your home, at your job, in community, use your influence to see how you can support someone else. Live for something. You have what it takes. I want to say to everyone that's listening, you're worthy, you're loved, you matter, you belong here. And yes, take up space.
Okay. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Really enjoyed it. And we'll link up all of the links and everything in the show notes so people can go out, support, learn, and spread the word some more.
Thank you.